What is going on, everyone, and welcome to Around the Metaverse, our weekly show where we bring together some of the best content creators from the blockchain and NFT gaming space, talk about all the recent news, and give you guys everything you need to know to stay up to date. My name's Adam. I'll be your host today, but more importantly, we got another great cast for y'all today. First and foremost, obviously, back in the house, we got CryptoStache. How's it going on this fine Monday?
Doing it. Don't love Mondays, but I love being here with you guys. So that's it. That's a plus. It's a plus.
No one. Stache is like Garfield out here. He's got a case of the Monday blues. But we got Zueljin back in the house for another show, man. Thanks for coming back. Good to have you.
Of course, it's always good to be here, man. Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday indeed. We got a couple longtime friends of the show coming back for another episode here. We got PandaPops, renowned voxel editor for the Sandbox. How you doing?
Hey, I'm really good, thanks. Had a really chilled weekend, so loving having another chilled Monday with you guys. Love these shows.
Hell yeah. And last but certainly not least, we got Hysteria, founder of Non-Fungible Gang, another longtime friend of the show. Happy to have you back here, man. How's it going?
Yeah, really good, man. I get surprised every time you ask me back. So, little bit of light at the end of my Monday. So thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Well, I mean, you shouldn't be surprised at this point. It's just like at least 5 times, you know. But happy to have you guys back on the show, man. It's another good Monday. If you're here for the long term in the metaverse, I know I've been picking up some fire sales on tokens and things like that, responsibly, of course. But we got some great topics to talk about today. But before we dive into things, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already. Show the YouTube algorithm who's boss out here. But let's jump right into things. We're going to be talking about how to survive a bear market in the metaverse. We're going to be talking about money ruling the metaverse and the Azuki drama. Kind of a bit on what went down with that and maybe why it's not as bad of or as cataclysmic of an event as some people might think. And then NFTs and entertainment, we got an announcement coming out from Sony and Theta Network. If y'all are familiar, some of y'all might be watching on Theta right now, hopefully, which is going to be an interesting piece talking about the future of entertainment in and NFTs. But let's jump into things. How to survive a bear market in the metaverse. It's been an interesting couple weeks to say the least. We've had a lot of pain, a lot of blood in the streets, right? Not necessarily metaverse NFT related, but I know the Luna kind of problem has a lot of people shook right now. But we're going to tell you guys what you should be looking out for in terms of NFTs and the metaverse, and how to survive this thing and best position yourself to come out on the other side on top. So Stache, let me start with you. What would you say is your strategy to benefit from a bear market in NFTs and the metaverse?
Yeah, I mean, with a bear market, I think one of the biggest, a little bit of a two-part strategy. So the biggest thing is really being able to control your kind of emotions with things are at, right? Your mental state. I think that's the biggest thing to kind of make sure that you have underneath, control. And then from there, I would say that just build. Just find something to get building on, whether that's building your presence in somebody else's community or building out your own community. But I think really, that's what I really think, the bear market is for, is to not be focusing on crazy euphoric prices of our favorite tokens, but to really be focusing on the development cycle. So you'll see a lot of the really good companies kick it into overdrive and really start to build. So first, I'd say, like I said, get those emotions underneath control, and then just start building. Like I said, whether it's your own stuff or building within somebody else's community too.
Put your head down and build, man. I know that's what a lot of people did. A lot of people who find themselves today being foundational parts of this industry, that's what they do during bear markets, right? So, if you are here for the long run, right, what you want to be doing now is not like taking your foot off the gas. It's you want to put pedal to the metal essentially and start diving into the things that you're really passionate about in the space. But Zueljin, let me get your opinion, man. Like, in terms of NFTs specifically, I guess, like what types of NFTs would you say people should be looking for when prices are down? Now, NFTs aren't necessarily like what you should be dumping tons of money on right now. But if you were to buy or look for NFTs, what are some green flags that you might look out for?
Well, you and I kind of started talking about this the other day personally when I was completely out of the loop with Solana. I ended up just like everybody else that is buying tokens right now. I got some Solana on a pretty good discount. And if you ever look at mint prices for NFTs as well as secondary market prices, you'll see there in the tokens, their native tokens, whether it's Ethereum or Solana or AVAX or whatever chains you're on. And a 3 SOL mint is still a 3 SOL mint. So if you can get 3 SOL for $150, and you look at that as based on a few weeks ago when you could get Solana for $150 a piece, you're literally lowering your risk level in order to dip your toes in that market or get very invested in it. So if you follow NFT projects or you research it, green flags that you're looking for is, docs team members, is proven track record for these team members. If it's game related, do they have development experience in the blockchain? Do they have development experience in game? Have they produced anything, significantly successful that you can look at and say, well, that's a really, really good indicator that this team has a good chance of being successful, And just in general, what the community is like, whether or not it's a legit community. Do they have 75,000 Twitter followers that's not 90% bots? Do they have an active Discord community? Is their roadmap really well put together? All those things are really fundamental things that'll give you some ideas whether or not you're willing to invest your hard-earned money in these projects, and statistically improve your chances whether or not you're going to get a return on your investment, or at least the value that you're looking for in any said project.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And it's funny you bring that up. Like, one of my favorite things or not favorite things, but like one of the funniest things that I notice on projects is when there's 100,000 followers on Twitter or something like that. There's only like retweets or like something like that, and no one that we know or is associated with within crypto also follows that project. It's like,
right.
Well, what 100,000 people are following you, man? Like, come on, the next botnet, right? But I don't know. Some people are saying that this is it, man. Like, some people are saying that this is the end of crypto. This is the end of NFTs. It was all a big Ponzi scheme, scam, right? Pyramid scheme, whatever you want to say. PandaPops, let me get your opinion. Like, do you think we're ever going to recover from this? I mean, or like, is it all over?
Yeah.
Is the sky falling?
For sure, we're going to recover from this. I remember people saying this back when we got to, 4K ETH, whenever it was. What was it, March time last year? And then there was that huge dip, and it went down, down, down. And people were like, oh, it's all over, the bubble's popped, blah, blah. No, we're going to recover. Some things may not recover as much as others. And it is you got to make sure the projects you're invested in or want to invest in are legit companies that you believe in, that you actually want to put your money in. Like Zueljin said, make sure that it's a team of doxed people that, that have experience in crypto blockchain, that can stand by their products and do all that stuff. I don't really see crypto going anywhere anytime soon, especially not NFTs. I feel like a lot of people know my opinion on profile picture NFTs. I'm not a huge fan of those, but utility, playing games where your resources can be created to make a sword in a game and you can, trade that. I feel like they're going to be what's going to be the big thing.
Well, no, and it's funny too. Like, you remember back a year ago or whatever, when ETH was getting to all-time highs, a little past 4K, and I mean, when we had that big dip, people were saying oh, we're never going to recover, we're never going to recover, and we did recover a little bit. But really, if you look at the chart, I mean, since then, 9-10 months ago or whatever, it hasn't really been a recovery very much so. But no, I agree with you there, though.
It's not been dead, though. It's not.
Yeah.
We've not just flatlined.
Yeah, good opportunities for swing trades and good opportunities for accumulating, especially now if that's what you're into, which I know all of us are. But
yeah, I mean I was gonna say, yeah, and that's a pretty big bear market strategy too. Is that this is the time when you should be accumulating. This is really when you should be picking up your favorite projects, those really good things are solid, because you're literally getting the best discount you can get. So if you know this is going to be a good solid project, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, I know. One of the things like IMX, for example, is at an all-time low. If you look at the coin market cap chart, or like SPS or something like that, and literally, like those aren't going anywhere. But Hysteria, I want to ask you, man. Like, and PandaPops, you had mentioned this too. Like, I would say that what kind of sparked the mania that we saw probably 8, 9 months ago in the NFT space, in like when Facebook came out and announced that they were changing their name to Meta, all that craziness. I'd say one of the things that started off that kind of run was Bored Ape Yacht Club and like the popularization of profile picture NFTs. Hysteria,
Yeah.
like, what do you think is the next thing that is gonna like be the spark that kind of ignites the next bit of interest in this space?
I think it's already happening. The play to earn, or as a lot of people are calling it now, maybe the play to own space is really growing. So I'm going to do a bit of a shameless shill here. There's a game Million on Mars on Wax right now, just moving over to Sol, and maybe some other chains too. And it's just insane the value that's locked up inside this game. The entire community is getting super excited about it, and other games are starting to take note and follow suit. And it's really apparent now that we need to be staying away from these, Ponzi type games where, you have to invest a little bit of money to potentially earn a lot of money. If that's the case, it's probably not going to be something that's, long term and sustainable. People are really catching on to those quickly now. So, if you are going to get into that type of game, you need to get in and get out really quickly. But the play to own space, really popping off at the moment. And, you've got games like Illuvium just around the corner now. Getting super excited about the land sale going on there at the end of this month as well. So, that's really where our heads are at.
Well, yeah, and it's funny too, because like, I'd say Play to Earn Gaming was a decent, like, had some limelight shined on it during this last bull run,
Yeah.
but I don't think it was like the main focus in traditional circles, or the people being onboarded into NFTs and things like that.
Yeah.
And one of the things too, like, if you're looking to maybe mess around or dip your toes in the water, I feel like a lot of the biggest gains in blockchain gaming, in play to earn, play and earn, play to own, whatever the next term for it is going to be, was being early. You know what I mean? Being one of the people who had that first exposure to it before everything kicked off, and like now is the perfect time to be looking into things like that.
Absolutely. I mean, you just got to look at the prices on some of these tokens, like the SILV2 token, which is going to be used at the same rate as the ILV token, to purchase lands in Illuvium. That's going for literally peanuts at the minute when you consider the value that's going to have. And I'm sure a lot of these other like Metaverse type tokens are going to be popping off again very soon. In a very soon amount of time. Sorry, get my words out.
It's just a matter of time, hopefully. It's just a matter of time.
Just a matter of time, yeah, that's the one.
But yeah, man, another like play to earn gaming, super exciting. But let's dive into our next topic here. A story about, or kind of the buzz on Twitter last week was, and actually right after our last show last week, this came out, that one of the founder essentially of one of the largest projects on Ethereum right now, excuse me, Azuki's, the founder's name is Zagabound.eth, came out and like committed, like self-sacrificed himself essentially, and said, like, came out with this kind of whimsical tale about his kind of journey through blockchain and getting to founding Azuki. And it comes out that he actually was part of founding 3 other projects that basically, like, I wouldn't say they're rug pulls per se, but they were basically abandoned by the team, right? And one of them almost being a questionable rug pull, right? I know if you guys watching out there follow Zach XBT on Twitter, he has some exposer thread on him that's pretty good to get in the details. But I want to talk to you guys about like what happened afterwards, right? So like the news broke that he was kind of a scammer in a sense, and the floor for Azuki's dropped out like right away for about a day or so. right afterwards, we come right back up to almost all-time, or not almost all-time highs, but significantly more than someone might expect for that project. And I'm curious to get your thoughts on why that might be. Zueljin, let me start with you. Like, why do you think people or the community members and investors didn't completely abandon Azuki's after hearing about like the fact that the founder might be a serial rugger?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what motivated them. Most of the projects that I've been exposed to that had a significant amount of FUD, like real stuff, not just fear or whatever, like real stuff. I would get out. That's just personally me. NFTs aren't like, you don't have guaranteed liquidity. You can't pull out a portion of it if something goes wrong. You literally have to have a buyer for it. I remember Jungle Freaks was one of the projects that I got into that had some racism allegations on on the actual artist, and I bailed out faster than anyone else. Like I was out. I was like, nope, that's an unrecoverable. They might, and they did recover. You know, did I lose a little bit of money? Yes, but I had way more peace of mind, and I was very, very okay with that. Honestly, when you think about it, these problematic NFTs, whatever they are, if the community is strong enough, like you've seen projects that are crazy enough, like Safe Moon had a long life despite so much negative controversy around their project and stuff like that. And they still ended up doing well, you know. So it's really hard to tell what motivates them. I personally I always err on the side of caution when it comes to stuff like that. And if I see a significant type of FUD, I'm out.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree with you more there. And especially on Ethereum, a lot of these people have so much money invested in this stuff, man. It's like that peace of mind, I feel like, is like dialed up 10 times, you know? But Hysteria, let me ask you, man, like, would you be concerned for the future of the Azuki's community if like now the founders, I mean, there's not as much faith in the founder now. Like, do you think the community can basically bootstrap this whole project from here on out, or would you be worried, like, for the long term, like the viability of this project?
I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot barge pole, to be honest. We've seen time and time again these kind of projects that rely on, good faith from their community from the get-go, really, that they are going to come and deliver what they say they're going to deliver. Most of the time, they don't come good. Founders not doxed. I've seen time and time again, projects on other chains, things get found out about those project owners and the project quickly dissipates. So, I'm not really sure, who there is from the community that's capable of, taking the place of the founders if it does go bad. So, personally, I wouldn't recommend it as an investment at the moment.
Yeah, and even if you have there's not many people I feel like with liquidity right now, especially to be getting into things on Ethereum, unless you've already made it, right?
Yeah, exactly. If I did have that kind of money, there are so many other viable projects right now that are just begging for investment that it's just not even worth thinking about, really.
Well, no, it's funny too, like, not to dig at Ethereum, but I mean, this is a great time for people who aren't in NFTs to like start kind of investigating NFTs, right? And someone was asking me like, oh, like, is it normal for OpenSea to charge me $50 for like to buy an NFT or something like that? And I was like, oh, that's great. Like sometimes it's like 500.
That's all right.
Sometimes it's sometimes it's 1,000. They're like, what? And I was like, yeah, man, like if you really want to like get involved and not kind of waste your money on Ethereum gas fees, like start on Wax, start on Solana, start basically anywhere else, honestly. But yeah, PandaPops, let me ask you, like, what should there be consequences for not just like the Azuki founder, but like what consequences should there be for someone who doesn't deliver on like what they've essentially promised to in an NFT project? I mean, do you think that there should be consequences?
I think there should, but then there's the whole discussion: how can you even implement that? Like, what would that? Personally, to me, don't even know if it's possible. Maybe potentially the consequences could be if somebody rug pulls a project, those NFTs get flagged as rug pulled, and you get 50% of the value you purchased it at back, like the dollar value of it, or the ETH value, or whatever value of that exact cost back to you. How on earth would that be implemented? I have absolutely no idea. But I think there should be something like that potentially. If something fully rug pulled, like it's like, yeah, no, I up, guys. I buggered up. I can't deliver whatever I promised you. I was promising you, a really cool thing that was going to make you a millionaire. My bad. See you later. I'm out. You spent all your money on me. Yeah, like it feels like there should be something because, but then at the same time, you don't get that with normal investing. If I invested my money in Apple and Apple went bust and all my stocks plummeted to zero, I ain't getting anything for that. So it's a bit, I don't know. I feel like there should, but at the same time, how would you implement it? It doesn't translate to normal investing anyway. Like, you don't get something back for that. It's like you got to assess your risk tolerance, basically. You should only be spending what you can afford to lose, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. I couldn't agree more. But it's funny. Like, there's definitely going to be consequences for people in the USA. At least I could see that happening with the agencies that we have in place here, and probably in the UK too, at some point. But like, not even though this isn't like specifically Metaverse NFT related, I guess. But it was funny. I was seeing people on Twitter talking about the Luna UST debacle, and they were like, "Oh, like just wait for the lawsuits to come flooding to Do Kwon's door." Or whatever, and then people were like, "Oh, that dude's not in the United States. Like that dude's like in Korea. Like he's not getting any lawsuits. Like, what are you talking about?" But that's the point. Is like crypto is a global thing, right? So how are you supposed to be able to enforce things like consequences on founders who start something up just to basically rake in a bunch of money and then leave it for the next shiny thing, right?
Unfortunately, those regulations are going to come down on the people that contribute to the projects, not the people that run them. Like the regulations that we already have on startups and stuff when it comes to stocks. Like you have to have certain kind of brokerage accounts in order to invest in penny stocks, for instance, because they're considered high volatile and risk for the US at least. And essentially NFTs, that's all there are, right? They're startups, not existing projects, but being able to mint an NFT with nothing but a roadmap is exactly the reason why there's regulatory restrictions on a bunch of that stuff. So where do you draw the line? Like, do we want the flexibility? I do. Like, I want to be able to lose money if I want to. I don't want to lose money, but you know what I mean? I don't want some government agency telling me that I can't try, because I know what's best for my situation. I balance my checkbook a whole bunch better than they balance theirs. So I already feel more.
You don't know better. The government knows better, Zueljin. You don't know better, man. The government knows better, man. The government, man.
Like, where do you draw the line? You kind of like you fishing for maybe the wrong type of stuff when you start looking for where do these consequences lie and who faces what. Naturally, I would love to see any wrongdoers face justice, but like you said, it's a complicated scenario.
Yeah, you can't. There's no way that you can just be like, "Hey, this person needs punishing," but like, how do you implement it? You can't.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of BS too. I didn't really think about it until, well, I mean, I have thought about it, but you bring up a good point, Zueljin, is that like the consequences are going to fall on the people who invested it, like, or the negative impact is going to fall on the people who invested in the project and supported it. Like, I mean, correct. I'd say a majority of the NFTs that I own, like, and without a doubt, all the ones that give you or any of us any kind of like staking tokens per day that you can go sell on the market is a security, right? And like, we're all getting subpoenaed. We're all getting letters from the SEC one day, like to show us your keys. Let me see all your transactions. And I don't know what
Lost
that's
in
gonna.
a boating accident. It was in the yacht that sunk.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
But Stache,
Tragic.
let me get your
Tragic.
opinion. Like, I mean, even though you lost all your keys in a boating accident and are completely out of the game now, if Gary Gensler is knocking on your door, that is at least. But when you're looking at a project and their founder, like, what are some things that you would look out for to be like, all right, I feel confident that this is something that I would want to put my money in.
I mean, it just like with any other company, right? I mean, I think that a lot of times we invest in the brand name and not necessarily the team behind it. Unless you're really a savvy investor, I think a lot of people would easily invest into Apple or into Tesla, without knowing really who's the CEO, But I think that in crypto, a lot of times we put a bigger emphasis on that, which I kind of like, understanding who is behind it. Now, that doesn't mean that we still won't just throw millions of dollars at some known scammer and just be like, YOLO, I don't know, man, I heard 10x, after mint. So,
Oversubscribed whitelist.
Right, exactly. Oversubscribed whitelist. So, I mean, I think it happens pretty often. In NFTs and Metaverse, mint drops, but in general, yeah, I think that the team and doing the research on the team is a really important part of doing your research for a project. And if that team is one that has a bad track record, I don't care, man. I don't care what the gains people say they're going to be. I don't want to even touch it. Like Zueljin was saying, I was like, I don't want anything of it. I'm not going to mess with it. There's no point. There's a lot of other better gains out there that I can try and mess with, which don't have the potential, or foreseeable potential to turn into a long-term headache. Feel bad for those Luna holders and UST holders, man, because that was one of those things that, like, it seemed solid, right? And I mean, it seemed like this was a solid bet. You couldn't go wrong. But then that just shows you it's just one of those things. As safe as you think your Bored Ape is, as safe as you think your CryptoPunk is as an investment, all it takes is one crazy Ivan ass event like that for things to go south and your millions of dollars to be gone. So we're in a really weird place right now, I think, with NFTs, because this is the first time we've really seen them go through a true bear market. We've seen NFTs around through a bear market, but not like we've seen it now, where we had this big euphoria, a lot of money being thrown at it. We haven't really seen what that's going to look like, and we're starting to see that. We're starting to see floor prices come down in general. And so, but to see a project that we know, like Azuki's, have an owner, a founder that has previous projects that have been total, rug pulls, really. I mean, when you talk about just, the company, the team walked away, like, that's a rug pull, man. They're gone. It's crazy how quickly we can forget here in crypto too. So as much as we do the research, we also very quickly forget, for whatever reason, that these people have pulled this shit off. But we need to hold people to a higher standard, I think, here, especially in the bear market.
Yeah,
that's what it's for, man. Because only the people who are here for the long term are here today, right? Or, well, maybe in a couple, we'll give it a couple more weeks and maybe a couple more months, and we'll really see who's still sticking around, right? But yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more, man. I think that it's kind of surprising that Azuki kind of bounced back the way they did. I hope
Hell yeah,
that
it is. I mean, it's crazy to see that. They're like, hey,
Well,
our
it's
owner is a
sunken.
scammer.
Yeah, but it's sunken cost fallacy more than anything. People don't want to lose their money,
Right.
so they
Right.
just kind of, they stay in hoping for the best.
But who's buying Azuki at 15 ETH, right? Like, if it goes from 20 to 15, like, who's like, hey, this is it's a scammer founder day. Let's go and get a little bit of a discount on this
Right.
Azuki, and then for sure it's going to come back. Like, I feel like
There's
there's definitely a
always
lot of
idiots in the
insider.
world.
That's hard
There's
for
a
me to
lot of
wrap my
insider
head
trading
around.
going on, man. A lot of insider shit going on, for sure.
And it's
Yeah.
it's not to mention, these are savvy investors. Like, these are people that can afford to cut their losses and move on to other projects. That's what boggles my mind. Like, how can someone that has a disposable investment capital of 15 ETH make a decision on something that already has a scar like that? You know, it's it. I don't understand it. I can't relate, man.
ETH, man. It's just all good vibes on ETH, right? No worries. Just as long as the floor price is okay, I'm okay.
No, I just
no,
stick
but
my head in the sand and don't look.
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, no, but let's hop on to our last topic here. We're going to be talking about a story that just came out recently here with Sony, kind of dabbling now in a little bit of blockchain technology with a partnership with Theta Network, one of our longtime favorite projects here on the channel as well. And you know, honestly, I was kind of surprised to see this when I was like looking for articles to cover on the show in a good way, because I feel like Theta doesn't get much love, right? And to see a partnership with Sony, I was like, damn, that's significant, right? So essentially, for you guys watching, what's happening is Sony and Theta are set to release an NFT together that's going to be specially designed for this sort of display that Sony's made for 3D rendering. We won't get into that too much, but it's essentially just a display that has a camera in it that tracks your eyes, so that the light coming from the screen is projected in a way that like hits your depth perception different than a normal screen does for artists to render things in 3D. And Theta actually went and made an NFT specifically with that technology, so that they were saying that it was a really novel and interesting way to view the NFT, and it hit your brain, it hit your neurons a little bit different than a normal screen normally does. But I thought that was cool, and I want to ask you guys more specifically about just kind of this partnership in general. Theta being one of the biggest, or the biggest, I guess, protocol for entertainment and data distribution for a network like that using blockchain, and Sony, one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world. Um, I wonder if this is going to be more than just a one hit wonder, right? Uh, PandaPops, let me start with you. Like, do you think that Sony, now that we've seen them start express interest in NFTs, that they're going to be a big player in the space in 5 to 10 years?
I can see that. They've shown interest in the past for wanting to do NFTs, got a little bit of backlash in terms of gamers not really liking it, but I think that's just them not understanding sort of how good NFTs can be in the gaming industry. So yeah, I think in the next 5 years, especially with the way blockchain games are going, we can really see them flourish in it if they do it correctly and well, which I don't see why they wouldn't. I'm trying to see if I put any notes on this.
No worries.
Yeah, no. As terms of big player, I don't know if they'll be the biggest. I think, companies like Gala Games, Sandbox, Animico, really, will be the bigger ones just because they've had a foot in the door of blockchain gaming a bit longer. But yeah, I could see them doing well. They've just got to implement it right. And I think it's more about educating the gamers. Because if they get another backlash of gamers being like, no, we don't want NFTs, they're bad for us, but sure, we'll spend $50 on a DLC pack and some random stuff. It's like, no, buy NFTs. You actually get to own it. You just, I love gamers, but come on, guys.
I know the backlash or the misconceptions that are within traditional gaming. I just don't like. I think we all don't really. We struggle to understand sometimes, because I mean, I feel like we talk about it all the time on here. But when I saw this story, it reminded me actually of a previous one that came out a couple months ago when Warner Music Group partnered with Splinterlands essentially for a partnership there. And that kind of reminded me of this because I think that Stache, I wanted to ask you, like, do you think that who do you think benefits more from this, right? So, like, in comparison to Warner Music, one of what I would consider Sony's, biggest or bigger competitors, partnering with SPS and Splinterlands, like this seemed to make more sense to me, Sony and Theta Network. Like, who do you think of those two, Sony and Theta, are going to be benefiting more from a partnership?
Do you mean between Sandbox and Warner, or are you talking about and Sony and Theta? Which is a
Sony
bigger
and Theta.
partnership?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Theta definitely benefits a lot with this, but this is not the first time we've seen Sony jump into NFTs. They may have seen that backlash with gamers in general. Some bigger brands trying to push NFTs last year, so maybe not going that direction with NFTs, but looking at other entertainment avenues, right? So we saw them offer those NFTs for the Spider-Man No Way Home movie, where it was like, hey, you can go, and if you're one of the first couple people to pre-order, you get this sweet NFT. So I think I think they understand and are starting to get like how these work and how they are good to entice people, and so using it for a we'll say cutting edge technology or like display that they're trying to get out there. I think the display is awesome, man. It's like one of those things that you see in one of those in like a futuristic movie like Minority Report or something, where you're walking along and you're getting these customized 3D stereoscopic type of renderings, and it's not really 3D, but it looks 3D to you because no matter where you go, it looks like it would if you were kind of looking around it, right? So I think it's cool to like pair a new technology like NFTs with something new like that and saying, hey, here's this really cool new thing, and we're partnering with Theta to do an NFT for our cutting edge thing with their cutting edge thing. So I mean, I think in general it's a good partnership. It's a limited partnership, so I don't know that it's going to be like super beneficial for either of the companies. But it's another stepping stone in the Theta story, which I think is great. And there's a lot of value there in Theta, guys. If you're not watching on Theta, shout out to all my Theta crew out there right now. But great network, and I love the fact that they're making big plays like this with some bigger networks. So.
Well, yeah, and Theta, I think, is going to be positioned to really disrupt the way that people at least how streaming works in the future, right? And how that data is distributed across the globe, right? But NFTs at large, I think at least, are going to be disruptive in the entertainment industry specifically, and that being one of the next things that I think we're going to see here in the next 5 years, really start to speed up. Zueljin, let me ask you, how do you think NFTs are going to change the entertainment industry at large? I know Stache just mentioned for people who went and saw Spider-Man when it first came out, Sony dropped a bunch of people a limited Spider-Man NFT on wax, which some people really loved, and some of them were selling for hundreds, thousands of dollars right after the movie came out. So that was nice to find in your wallet,
Mm-hmm. I think in general, being able to increase adoption in any way it's a really, really good technique to do that through entertainment. How it'll change it, I think, is hard to say, because right now the people that subscribe to any sort of time commitments for entertainment are going to do it whether or not they get NFTs. Although us in the cryptoverse, we subscribe to stuff just because there's an NFT component, right? Regardless if it has that entertainment value or not. I've played some games that aren't really fun so that I could utilize NFTs that I invested in or earn, and there's a bunch of different mechanics. But the other way around is that entertainment itself is just going to increase adoption, whether it be from people that are just trying to sell what they got in their wallet from some airdrop, or if there's actually some component that they can utilize and say, oh, this is actually very, very interesting and has value. The whole Sony component thing, that's a technology that hasn't been introduced yet. So that being paired with an NFT is going to do good for both sides, I think. People that are into Sony but not really NFTs are going to see that as something that they want to check out, whether you're a geek or you just think it's a great technology or somebody got it to you for Christmas or your birthday, So I think it's good all in all. It's gonna help adoption anyway. These companies like Theta benefit from the credibility that they get from companies like Sony, because they're a leader in the tech industry, and they, through gaming with PlayStation. And the opposite ways for Sony, they get a company that has an expertise in an industry that they're not necessarily very familiar with. And it allows them to dip their toes in the water and kind of mitigate their risk, because they have help going through this new territory, So in general, I think the partnerships are going to evolve more and more people that are in the NFTs but not in the entertainment industry that are going into entertainment or going to need experts that have been in the entertainment industry for a long time, and vice versa.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, like you said, Sony is I'm curious to see when we'll start to see like NFTs hitting, or NFTs being a standard on something like the PlayStation or an Xbox, and PC gaming. I'd say we already have NFTs, even though it's not really like fully fledged in AAA gaming so much as we have a few games that are coming out like right now that I would consider our quality PC games that have NFTs in them, like Illuvium, Phantom Galaxies, etc. Right? But Hysteria, let me get your opinion on this stuff too, man. Like, what were your thoughts about this partnership? Like, do you think Sony, um, do you think Sony is gonna continue with this, or do you think like they're just they haven't really done a very massive NFT rollout, right? Like they dropped Spider-Man NFTs, which was on the Wax blockchain, which was I guess
Yeah.
kind of big. They're doing this, but I wouldn't say that this is like a massive endeavor for them. Like what do you think that might be when it comes?
Yeah, it's very important to say that a company like Sony, they need to be very protective of their customer base and their fan base. A lot of those PlayStation fans, they are loyal Sony supporters. I'm one of those. And if Sony, does venture out into play to earn gaming and get NFTs inside PlayStation games, that would be great. But I'm not expecting it anytime soon. In terms of what that could be, I would expect it to be kind of a low key offering somewhere. For them to dip their toes in the water. I wouldn't expect them to introduce it to their console. I think that introduces a lot of problems for them that they just don't need to deal with at the moment. Being one of the top two producers of video games and entertainment in the world. So yeah, that's my 2p on that. Really, I would love to see it, but what that's going to be, I wouldn't like to speculate on it. And I don't think it will be what we want. I don't think we're going to see something like Horizon Zero Dawn with some NFT economy with skins that you can trade on the PlayStation Marketplace or something crazy like that. That would I would love to sit here and say that's what we're going to see, but in reality, who knows. I think it would be insane, even to see Sony being involved with any game, whether that be a PC game, PlayStation game that had NFTs involved in a play to earn concept. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, man. Hopefully, we just got to get past the like we mentioned earlier, the misconceptions that exist within traditional gaming about what the power of this technology can bring to that industry, right? And I don't know, man. I think it's coming. I hope you guys think it is too.
What's your estimate on that, Adam? Go and give us a time.
Well, hey, man. Like I said, the metaverse, as it's like being marketed to people, is like 20 years. I'm gonna say till we're like maybe Ready Player One, 30 years. Ready Player One, 30 years from now. But blockchain gaming taking over. I'd say the next 5 to 10 years. And then that's when things really start to get crazy, is when everyone's making money from grinding, old school RuneScape GP, and not leaving their homes or whatever. But I mean, I think we're running out of time here, guys. I want to thank you all for coming on the show again tonight. Even though prices are down, we're all still here bringing you guys watching some of the best content on blockchain gaming and the metaverse. Giving you guys all the sweet tips on what you should be looking out for on how to get ahead in this bear market. And, we're going to keep doing that every Monday for y'all. So don't forget to tune in next week. And before we go, don't forget to smash that like and hit subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out our guests in the description below. Spread that love around. But this has been Around the Metaverse. See y'all next week. We out.